welcome to our show today. This is What's Up Ocala. It's where we're going to be discussing professional trustees this morning. You may have heard that term before, but do you really know what a professional trustee is and why someone might need one? Well, in this show today, we're going to be exploring the role of a professional trustee and its importance in your life. First, let's define what a professional trustee is. A professional trustee is a person or an organization or even a company that is responsible for managing and for administering a trust on behalf of the beneficiaries. Okay, so that person or company or whatever is responsible for ensuring that the terms of the trust are being fulfilled. Investments are made in the best interests of the beneficiaries. It's not just in whatever that person wants, but it's in the best interest of the beneficiaries, and that distributions are made according to the terms of the trust. Now, you might be wondering why someone would need a professional trustee. Why don't they just have a family member or something like that do it? Well, there's actually several reasons why someone might choose to use a professional trustee instead of just a family member or maybe a close friend or something like that. First off, a professional trustee has expertise in managing trusts and investments, which is particularly important for larger or more complex trusts. If somebody does not have experience in those, it can be daunting. They have to have knowledge and experience to make sound investment decisions. They have to manage risks. They have to ensure compliance with legal and with tax requirements. There's a lot of paperwork involved, basically. Secondly, a professional trustee is impartial and objective, unlike a family member or a friend. For me personally, both of my parents asked me to be a trustee for them, and I declined. A professional trustee is not emotionally attached to the beneficiaries, and they can make decisions based solely on what's best for them. This can help avoid conflicts of interest and ensure that everybody is equally treated as the trust is managed and is all fair and transparent. Transparency is key. So finally, a professional trustee can provide continuity and stability. Family members or friends who act as trustees, they may not have the time or the resources to manage the trust. So it's not just experience, but it's also time consuming. Especially over the long term. They may have good intentions right at first, but over long term, they may not be able to provide that same level of service as a professional trustee. That professional trustee, on the other hand, has a team of professionals and resources to ensure that the trust is managed effectively for years and years, for the long term. So if you are considering setting up a trust, or if you're a beneficiary of a trust, you may want to consider using a professional trustee to ensure that your interests and the interests of the other beneficiaries are protected. We talked about what a professional trustee is, but what are some of the pros and cons to actually having a professional trustee in this circumstance? Well, here are some points that I want you guys to consider if this is something that you're maybe considering right now. Pros, we're going to go with the positive first. The expertise. The professional trustees have specialized knowledge and experience in managing trusts, which can be really valuable for larger or more complex trusts, especially when you're dealing with something in the real estate field and dealing with tenants and landlord-tenant related laws and so forth. A little bit more complex. Also, the impartiality. A professional trustee is impartial and objective, which can really help to avoid those conflicts and make sure that the trust is managed in a fair and transparent manner for all the beneficiaries as the trustor required. Again, you also have that continuity. A professional trustee can provide continuity and stability over the long haul, ensuring that the trust is managed effectively for years to come. They also have resources. Professional trustees have a team of professionals and resources at their disposal, which can be particularly useful for tasks such as investment management and tax compliance. The other thing I want to point out is the accountability. A professional trustee is held to a high standard of accountability and fiduciary duty, which can provide peace of mind for the beneficiaries of the trust, not just the trustor. So let's go ahead and jump into the cons now, shall we? All right, so what are some of the cons? Well, first we have cost. A professional trustee can be a little more expensive than family members or friends who are acting as trustees, particularly for the smaller trusts. So for a smaller trust, you may go ahead and decide that it's actually better to have a friend or family member do that. Also, that lack of personal connection, we're going to get into that a little more in a minute, but a professional trustee may not have the same kind of personal connection to the beneficiaries, which can be a good thing, but it also can be a bad thing. A family member or friend, it could be that they can actually, it could be a disadvantage if maybe the beneficiaries prefer a more personal relationship with their trustee, not to influence, but just to have some things understood. There's also less flexibility, so a professional trustee may be more constrained by legal and regulatory requirements than a family member or friend when they can just go ahead and decide something. There's more liability for a company. It could limit the ability to respond to circumstances that change immediately for the needs of the beneficiaries. There's also a potential for conflicts of interest for this one as well. So while a professional trustee is supposed to be impartial, there's always a risk that conflicts of interest could arise, particularly if the trustee has a relationship with the grantor or their beneficiaries of the trust. So just because they're a professional trustee does not necessarily mean that they are impartial, because they do have those relationships established. So communication is also a huge part of it, between the professional and the trustee and the beneficiaries of the trust. It may be less frequent or less personal than if it was a family member or a friend, which could lead to misunderstandings or a lack of trust if you don't have that communication and that constant communication, if that's what's required for different circumstances. So basically, while there's a lot of potential drawbacks to having a professional trustee, the benefits of their expertise, impartiality, continuity, and resources may outweigh the costs and the potential for drawbacks in a lot of the cases. But really, the choice of whether you use a professional trustee or if you use a family member or friend, it's all going to depend on the specific circumstances of the trust and the preferences of you or the beneficiaries. So while being a professional trustee is one of the services that we do provide at Great Expectations Realty, don't get too excited. We only offer the services in very specific situations. It's not like we advertise this all over the place. It's just very specific situations, because each trust is very different, just like every person and their situations are very different. We only offer those services at our office if the majority of the trust is already or will be real estate related. It would be a huge disservice to our customers if we went outside of what we specialize in, what we're passionate about, and what we're knowledgeable in, which is real estate. So, the professional trustee positions that we hold are primarily for the owners that have primarily residential and multifamily real estate portfolios. So it's not something that we just do with everybody. And we also, have to know the mindset behind some of the stipulations, because sometimes, common sense and judgment calls do happen at times when life happens and there's no set parameters on how to handle these different situations that come up, that there's nothing set forth. We do have to use our own brains and figure it out. So it really helps if we know the principles and the mindset behind what you want, so we can make sure that your wishes are considered even when you're not around to give us minute specifics. So we need to kind of know you enough to make sure that you get what you want and why, but not close enough to know your family so that they supersede your wishes, because this is your trust you're creating. So, honestly, thinking on it, we don't even really work with every single property owner that wants to hire us either. We have a fantastic team of property managers. They're absolutely amazing. We have a wonderful team of admin, But sometimes the property owner goes in a direction that we're not really comfortable with. So, for example, we feel that to get the most for your investment in the long term, you should be really proactive with your maintenance. Like a bead of caulking is like a really small thing, right? But if you don't maintain the caulking in like a tiled bathtub surround, you will have water getting behind the tile and have mildewy tiles falling off the wall, and then you're going to have to spend hundreds of dollars redoing the whole surround, or worse, and it really could have been avoided by simply maintaining it ahead of time. But shockingly, not all property owners agree with this. Some follow the keep costs down to an absolute minimum all the time, or they know something needs to get done and they defer maintenance out indefinitely for years, we're talking. And they kind of have a, if it's not falling in on itself, don't fix it mentality. And that's just not really what we do or what we agree with. When we come across that situation, we opt out as quickly as we can. Not only because we respect our tenants and their right to a healthy, well-maintained home, but also for the property owner, because someday, and sometimes not that far down the road, the bill for all that deferred maintenance will be due, and it will be costly. And invariably, the question then becomes, well, why didn't you take care of that before now? I mean, so even though they said not to, it's going to be our fault. So it's just a no-win situation. The stories I could tell you are endless. After doing this for close to 20 years, it's crazy the stuff I've seen. So even though we don't take every property management portfolio, we also don't take every situation where they're asking us to be a professional trustee. We have to know that what you want is clearly written. We have to know that we're going to be able to do things exactly as you want them done. And if we don't agree or can't do exactly what your wishes are, we just won't accept the position of professional trustee. Because, basically the entire point of the position is to make sure that your legacy is handled as you wish it to be handled. Even if you're not around to handle it yourself. Things happen, life happens. So we want to make sure that we're all on the same page, basically. I would also like to encourage all of you out there to get a will and look into setting up a trust. If you're creating a legacy for future generations, that's awesome. I won't get into it too much. I know everybody's like, but the Bible does say in Proverbs that a good man leaves an inheritance to his children's children. So what happens if you mean to leave that for them and you spent all this time creating this wonderful, great gift and this legacy, but then you don't take care of that final step of the legalities required, and then it goes to probate and someone else gets to decide who and how your wonderful gift, your inheritance is handled. If you aren't sure what probate is, it's the process of distributing estate assets to the beneficiaries after making sure all of the bills are taken care of course. But it goes to court. When someone in Florida passes away, their assets, if it's in their own individual name, the assets have to go through probate. And it's going to take a while. It's not something that takes weeks. We're talking months, if not years. So if you're thinking they can just sell some of your assets in order to help you pay for your funeral costs, won't be a big deal. Be aware. It's going to take a while. That is not something that's really possible to do. So if you ask any realtor if they've heard the word probate before in one of their deals, they always cringe. We all cringe. We're just like, ugh, because it's just really difficult situation. It's about the same as when you say Zillow. You shouldn't cuss like that at us realtors. It's really not kind, no. So, but if you would like a list of attorneys that we recommend that are going to help you with all the legalities required to help you write out a will or set up a trust or even help you go through probate process if that's where you're at right now, just send us an email at GER.ExpectMore@gmail.com and we'll email you over a list of attorneys that we recommend. If you want me to do any of those things for you, that is not going to happen since I am not an attorney and I have absolutely zero interest in becoming one. But I am a really fantastic real estate broker. So if you're interested in talking to us about anything real estate related, like real estate investing, we do 1031 exchanges, we do property management, or even our professional trustee services, be more than happy to talk to you about that. You can go ahead and just email us at GER.ExpectMore@gmail.com, or give us a call at our office. You can call us at 352-817-9160. So hopefully that answers some of the questions you didn't even know you had. We're going to take a real quick break, and when we come back, we're going to go over what the Marion County residential real estate market is doing this week and some of the fun and amazing stuff that you can find to do this weekend right here in Ocala. We'll be right back. Okay, we're going to talk about the real estate market here in Ocala in the last 7 days. Current listings, we have 2,576 homes available right now. It's almost exactly what it was last week though. New listings hitting the market, we had 211. Price increases 29. Price decreases 342. Back on the market, we had 80. Sold, we had 274. Expired, 34. It's a lot of expirations. Pending, 294. It's crazy. With withdrawn, we had 5, and canceled, we had 49. Median home prices listed at $269,000. Median home prices closed at $305,000. So while we definitely have noticed that real estate has been picking up speed, it's crazy that it actually ticked back up that quickly in price. This is the first time we've actually seen prices start going back up since the interest rates like hiked up over like double what they were before. So going from like 3 to 4% to over 7%. It looks like a lot of people were just kind of waiting to see what was going to happen and then just pounce on those houses that have come down. But those houses have come down almost $50,000 each in the last 6 months. So if this trend of the house prices going back up in Marion County is going to continue throughout March, we don't know about it. We just don't know yet. We only have a few days into March so far, but it's something we're going to be monitoring closely. We want to make sure that we know what's going on with Marion County real estate. So speaking of those interest rates, though, the national average interest rate for a 30-year fixed rate mortgage right now is 7.493%. So for the 15-year fix, that's the one I've been recommending for the last few weeks. If you check, it's at 6.497. So if you're looking for a new home and you're considering that, something to check into. Also, if you're checking into new construction, there are some amazing deals with some of the larger companies, especially that are building, and they're giving back flex cash, so you can kind of use that to buy down your points and even get an even better interest rate. So maybe a 15-year end using those flex points. Wow, you'd be doing some really great things with your interest rate for that mortgage. All right, we're going to take one last quick break, and when we come back, we get to share the amazing stuff you have an opportunity to do here in Ocala this weekend. Super excited. Be right back. All right, welcome back. Okay, so the Strawberry Festival, it's happening today, Saturday, over at the McPherson Complex. We're actually going to be there, so we're going to be giving away some free stuff and some fun stuff. And oh yeah, there's going to be strawberries there too. There's also going to be an awesome car show, which gets me in the irony bone or funny bone because it's a car show at the DMV. I mean, how great is that? Of course, there's also the downtown market that has the farmers market each Saturday from 9 to 2. And if you're looking for some fun stuff for your kids to do or your grandkids to do on spring break coming up, there is this really great resource that I use often for people that are moving to the area. It's on Facebook. It is a page called Fun For. It's the number 4. So Fun For Ocala Kids. And it's a page on Facebook that has like every club, activity, sport, anything and everything that your young ones could possibly be interested in. It's all on there. So if you happen to come across that, go for it. If you happen to be in Orlando this weekend, this Saturday, today, the Sunrail is free. They're trying to help with people that are parking out of area events, and they're wanting to kind of help. But for me, I love trains. I love trains. So So much so that I may actually just go over to Orlando just to enjoy the ride. I would just go all day. So over at Silver Spring State Park, there is the Florida Springs Festival, and that's all weekends, Saturday and Sunday. They have info on history and science. They have some fun activities to do. There's going to be music. I mean, it's not bad for a $2 entrance fee, but if you want to do the glass bottom boats, that costs extra. If you're a camping lover like I am, you may want to stop out at the Florida Horse Park this weekend for the Ocala RV show. There's going to be like 10 different dealers with their best RVs. And then over at the Appleton, it's free today for the first Saturday free. It's actually an excellent time to go over to the Appleton because they have like guest lecturers and they have artists and they have activities, and that's each first Saturday of each month. So stop on out for that. So I guess that's it for today. We're actually thanking everyone for listening, for those on the radio. But if you are on our YouTube channel, Great Expectations Realty, and you're watching, thank you as well. We hope that you enjoy our show. We have lots of things that come out each week about local businesses and activities in Ocala. So if you'd like to subscribe, you will get notified when new videos come up. I also do a Ask the Broker session every Monday night at 6 p.m. So if you would like to ask some questions on any given topic or about real estate, you can go ahead and have access to me on Mondays at 6 p.m. That's our live, and we do it for about an hour, so you can go on there and just watch what other people are interested in, if they're interested in moving to Ocala. And also, if you have any questions, you have free access that's kind of anonymous, sort of. so you can ask your questions to the broker as well. And then it's a no hassle, no pressure kind of situation. Of course, we also have our monthly home buyers workshop here at the office, the one at the Ocala office, which is in the Paddock Park Plaza, which is 3201 Southwest 34th Avenue, Suite 102. And if you're looking on GPS, it's going to be 34474 for our zip code over here. And at our office, we have snacks, but no judgment. So if you come in and you're like, there is no way that I can even remotely borrow a house, or as one person said, I don't even have the credit to borrow a library book at this point, which I thought was hilarious. That's okay. It's no judgment. You know, we've all been there at one point or another. So what we'll do is just help you figure out the steps to home ownership and what your next steps are according to where your situation is at that moment. So maybe you won't be able to buy a house for another year. Maybe you are ready to buy right now. It doesn't matter. We just want to kind of help you figure out what those steps are, what grants are available, if there's, new home buyer programs or anything like that. Getting you into those to access those things is fantastic. You can, of course, also take it as an opportunity to see if you pre-qualify, or if you want to shop around for houses, or if you just want to ask questions about how you take title in Florida. Those are all really great things to talk about and to learn at that workshop. And of course, we will be going over the steps to home ownership from start to finish, everything that can possibly come up or what most frequently comes up, so that you can be prepared for what your next steps are, and then the ones after that, and the ones after that, until you have the keys to your home in hand. So if you want more information about that, if you like to RSVP, you can go ahead and give us a call. Our office number is 352-817-9160. And again, our next workshop is going to be on March 25th. So feel free to stop in for that. All right, well, again, thank you so much for listening, and thank you for watching. For those of you on YouTube, we greatly appreciate it, and we will see you next time.
Move with the rhythm, shake it up, stop when the clock hits 13. Sing 1, 2, 3, 4. Cause no one can do it like we do it, like we do it, like we do it. Cause no one can do it like we do it, like we do it, like we do it. Cause no one can do it like we do it, like we do it, like we do it. Cause no one can do it like we like we do it, like we do it.